Okie dokie, let's get to work. Saturday evening, not really the most appropriate time for working, but gotta get it done. Anyway, let's see, we've got a 1466 here. Let's come back after a year. Looks like we're in a fancy bag. Just to make sure they haven't put any vital personal information on the back. Alright. Looks like we've still got my old job code on there, so we'll scan that in. If it scans. Doesn't want to scan. There we go. John, blind. Alexi. There's been a little bit of delay in dispatching of some of the packages simply because I've ran out of cables and heat shrink, and I'm still waiting for them to arrive. Oh, right. I've already done micro shot, and bench is actually a little bit dirty, so I'll clean that first. I've got some new covers coming for the bench. They'll probably arrive long after everything else has. What I'm going to try and do is, instead of this weave pattern, I suspect maybe sucking up quite a bit of the video bandwidth. So I'm going to go for a more plain colour. And I've got a bunch of colours, we'll see which one works best. Probably none of them. But, you know, I want to do some experimenting, work it out. Okay. Let's see what we need. Our MagSafe 2 cable for this one. Oh, that's right. MagSafe's only on one side. There we go. Wait for the thingy to jump up to 20 volts first. Hey, David. Okay, now we can go in. What have we got? 150, 200, 300, 400. That's kind of like it's charging, but yeah, there's definitely a charge, but we don't have a green light. The fault log on the bottom there won't actually be the right one. Although, funnily enough, it's the same sort of issue. It charges, but might not necessarily turn on. Oh, okay, we've got green light there now. Just seeing if it actually turns on. We'll use one of the chipmunks to see what the life is. Okay, nothing coming up there. Okay, momentarily I saw it pop up. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so it tries to fire up and then it shuts itself back down. Anyone want to guess? We've got a PM Sleep S4L missing around here somewhere. And we've probably got a R8111 bypass that's going to happen, which means then we've got a failed CPU basically. Yucky yuck. Let's hope it's not that. I do have other logic boards I can drop into here, but I would rather find out what's going on, fix this one up. I really hope it's not the IMC. I hope it's just some capacitor that decided it wanted out and popped its head. Come on, come on. Battery's in good condition, as it should be. It's fairly new. So this is a 1.64 2015 model. Disconnect the battery. Take out the data for safety. Still got the job number on it, so that's good. Did say it was fixed. There's not so much anymore. Okay, continuity mode. Let's check out PP bus. Okay, no, the PP bus is fine. That's just charge. Yeah, PP bus is fine. Which makes me sad. Lathe and Zoltan. Sad noise is going to be coming out. Let's hope not. Let's see, voltage mode. I don't know why I always seem to end up with the red probe in the wrong place. 340 is good. 8.6, so SMC, ISL, all that sort of jazz is up and running fine. Let's bet PM Sleep S4L is missing. Hey there, repair electronics, or don't repair electronics. Has your electronics suffered any weird issues? No, I haven't, not from the storm, no. But to be fair, we are on the backside of the planet right now. Mind you, a lot of that stuff goes straight through the planet, no trouble. We go to schematics, and we go to our notes. So missing PM Sleep S4L. Well, tell us where we can find the S4L. I always forget that it's this middle pin up here. Just in there. What? Oh, I was going to say, where's my microscope light? Okay, and as you can see, at some point in the past I have actually probed that. Alas, for we have no PM Sleep S4L. Crud. Alright. Basically, what we've got here is potentially the situation where a lot of these 165s, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a number of these 165s are failing in this kind of way, and it's usually because of an IMC failure. So we can take this little resistor away, and if the board comes to life, then it's 99% likely IMC failure. So we'll take the board out. Hey Christian. Have been busy today as well, outside in the real world. Putting the roof on the cat house. Yes, actually finally got it done. 5 sheets, 3 and a bit meters long, and I managed to get them acceptably well lined up so it doesn't look like it's sheared or tilted off kind of thing relative to the frame. The only downside is that I didn't have the correct color screws for the roof. So the screws are like a bright shiny silver, but the roof is a color we call woodland grey. So they kind of stick out a little bit like rivets on a medieval armor. Still, it's good to have it up. And I'll be honest, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had to bring out the old carpenting chalk line and do some snaps across the roof so that I could work out where to put all the screws, because obviously I cannot see the location of the rafters, not the rafters, the purlins through the metal roof. I probably did it wrong, but I put all the sheets up at once because it was only a small area. Mostly because I wanted to be able to get the alignment right. I was worried that if I put one sheet up first and then just kept cascading the sheets, I would get a cumulative error building up and end up with a big disaster at one end. Hey Mark 2. Yeah, just been flat out with non-electronics things, plus of course doing the development and everything for the USB-C meter and the microscope ring light, which now are selling, but of course now that's stalled because we ran out of stock of certain things. Just spent a couple of $1,000 getting more parts, but it's a case I've just got to wait. It's annoying when you've got items ready to go, but you're just missing silly little things like some heat shrink or the USB-C, USB mini cables and things like that. Just stuff that catches you out, and then you go and order them and you find, wait, it's going to take a couple of weeks, and it's like, ugh, what a pain. This has had an SMC replacement on it too. I'll take a video of the cat house development. I'm not exactly sure when, but hopefully not too long. Okay, looks like I've actually moved that resistor in the past too, probably as a test. Looks like we're testing it again. Some flat flex cables. Which flat flex cables do you got to order? So yeah, that's sure that's a resistor there. Yep, that's it. Might just have a quick look over the board while it's out, just to be sure. 12 pin, half mil pitch. What are you using those for? Bit of corrosion setting in here. Definitely have been chasing a PM Sleep S4L issue in the past here. All this area, it's PM Sleep S4L stuff. Huh, that's interesting. Shouldn't cause a problem, but it is oddly interesting. This is different work. Look, see how those resistors are chipped? So we've got chipped resistor there, chipped resistor there. This is really being hacked at, and That pad looks a bit beaten, but that's backlight, so it shouldn't really be causing a problem unless it's hijacking the SMC, but then the SMC is working fine. Yeah, okay. Let's just do the 8111. The capacitor was off place too. Hey there, Q's. Well, hopefully also Q's, some other people will maybe consider buying that meter now that reasonable software is available for it. Although agreeably, it's a pretty fancy bit of kit. That there looks really weird. Yeah, that looks quite damaged actually. Or is it just corrosion making it look like that? Well, it's obviously corroded, but keep an eye on that. Alright, so now we see whether this thing fires up. And if it does, it's pretty much all over anyway. Please don't boot, please don't boot, please don't boot. Ah, god damn it, it boots. Ah. Oh, that's no good. That's no good because basically it means that the IMC inside the CPU is kaput. So yeah, as soon as it tries to power up that IMC, it can't do it and shuts everything down. We'll put it back and see if it fires up, but most likely it will not. Why is it so damn dark on this multimeter? It shouldn't, on this microscope. It should not be this dark. Oh, great. I hate that this camera never remembers its settings. You're gonna have to write me a little bit of a flow chart or walk through with the data capture, because it kind of sounds like you're trying to do, say, like diode mode capture for multiple pins on a part, which we already are doing through Flex Board View. So all that we'd have to do is make the software drop the data, and then Flex Board View can pick that up. Anyway, I sort of need to have a bit of a flow chart or process of how you're envisaging you want this to happen, so that I can look at your steps and then determine how to implement it. Otherwise I'm just going to be shooting in the wind. Yeah, there it goes, straight back to flash, flash, flash. Matei, yeah, it is a 1466. You see the 4.4 must be about 0.5, if not. Yeah. David, you talking about these 4 points or something else? Anyway, look, put it this way, it's a dead CPU at this point, which really sucks. That or there's a issue with the power to the SMC, but we know that the SMC is running, so yep. Why is removing H1 making it start? Because removing that disables the IMC power. I'll show it. So basically, if you remove this, it stops this from being enabled, which is the DDR regulator. And if we chase that line, yeah, let's see. I mean, I suppose what I could do is have a, say like take L7430 off and see what the diode mode is there. Marcia, these glasses are for, whoops. These glasses are for, maybe that kind of distance. So it's good for me when I'm working on things without the microscope. But then when I go under the microscope, I take them off. I suppose I could adjust it so I could use them with the microscope, but I prefer to keep switching back and forth rather than depending entirely on these. Hi there, Francis. Anyway, so let's see, L7430. Where are you? Oh, you're the big chunker. Yeah. That's this one here. There's a critter in my JTAG. Don't know if it's dead or alive. Very dead. Yeah, huh? This is frustrating because like a lot of them fail like this. What I don't get is there's all this damage to these resistors. And it's not just those ones, it's in a lot of places. There's some bad looking caps down there. .21. So nothing really wrong with the diode mode on there, so yeah. No. Stick this in the rest of them. Sadly. Stephen W. No, it just means it's a 2015 model. So didn't even make 10 years old. At least I know the SMC's okay. Yeah, that's just going to go into the scrap pile now. And I'm kind of curious. I've got a... What's this one? I've got a board here. This is the one that's slow on as soon as you put the GPU to it. Funnily enough, same spec. And I'm not the only person who's encountered this issue. And so I don't know whether we've got like a shunt fault where it's incorrectly interpreting one of the measurements or something else. But basically it only causes it to fail when you start using the GPU. And by fail, I mean, with the what do you call it? The frame rate really drops off and it crashes and things like that. So, but yeah, I'm not the only person who's suffered it, but it could be just a coincidence. I'm just gonna have another look over the board in case I miss something. The joy of the at-39. Yeah, sometimes when you look back over a board, you spot something you didn't see the previous time. Most likely not going to be the case. I do, from here, basically have 34, 37 boards. There could end up being a bit of drama for the fact that I'll have to probably flash them to support APFS, which, you know, it's not a big issue, but it's just something to be wary of. I'm almost certain yeah, maybe I haven't replaced the ISL, but I don't think the ISL is the issue. I've run it on a RAM test overnight several times and it reveals nothing. Is it a capacitor, the frequency of the capacitor GPU? What? Oh, were you talking about the previous board? You moved on from that, if that's what you were talking about. Initially, the primary fault that this one came in with was an absolutely butchered 342 section. And that got fixed up. Yeah, the RTC crystal doesn't look fantastic, but it must be working because there's no way it would boot otherwise. Oh, John. I saved that for important people like my wife. Okay, what happened? Oh, that's right. I had this section here that was misbehaving. Ach nee, man. It's Instagram. Pff, yeah. Why am I getting beeped for Instagram? What a waste. Yeah, so I don't know. This, like I said, this is A20000165, and everything works fine until you start to demand something from the graphics, and it will then run very slow on the graphics and then crash whatever the program was. It doesn't necessarily crash the computer. In fact, it very infrequently does. It just more crashes the program, which is why I thought, oh, maybe it's something RAM related, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And no, yeah, maybe is it a bad GPU MOSFET, but that's predominantly handled internally. And I would have thought the RAM testing would have smoked it out. Yeah, I'm on Instagram for some things, but not really a lot. Very little impact. So like I've replaced the shunt, and I'm pretty sure I replaced the currents, the amplifier for that shunt too. But yeah, I haven't been able to find anything that seems to afflict the GPU directly. I mean, okay, the backlight's butchered as well, but again, it's not unique to pounding the GPU. Hey Alex, have you ran an MRI on it? I don't have an MRI support for the 165. I'm just looking through some GPU stuff. Because there isn't really a GPU rail, I don't think, for these ones. You got the CPU, VCC power stage, up here. What's this? This is RAM 5 and 3v3. This is PCH, I believe. Okay, 1v05, my bad. And that's pretty much it, other than your main, this one here for PP bus. What are you? You're probably Thunderbolt. Yep, that goes to figure. Yeah, so I'm a bit lost on this one. Where is your second chat? I don't have a second chat. CPU and PCH plus GPU. Yeah. What is going on there? So yeah, I would have, if there had been a separate GPU rail, I would have been looking around there, but there's not. So maybe, yeah, maybe there is a problem with the CPU supply under high load. Yeah, maybe I should try to change the MOSFETs. It seems profoundly unlikely. We've got two phases. So 20. So what is it? We've got phase 2 here, phase 1 here. Yeah, so I'm pretty stumped. Like I said, maybe it is something on die, a bit like how, with the IMC. It sucks when you get faults like this. It really does. Run the rail from the power supply. Haha, wouldn't be able to drop enough amps for it anyway. Yeah, it seems like David's sort of at the same point where I'm feeling that it's something internal to the GPU, a bit like with the missing PM sleep S4 or the previous one. Because these sort of weird problems are popping up more and more with the aging of them. So it's not really an issue that was encountered prior. And it's just something that people are seeing now. So you sort of think, okay, it's something age related, and since the CPU can already drop dead with the IMC, then why not the GPU too? Again, sucks. Please check 4 points in front and see them there, blah blah blah. Okay, it would help if I knew the nearest. You're talking about these ones, David? You're talking about these ones? No. Well, give me a part that is closest. Because there's a hell of there's like those ones. And then there's all these ones. Yeah, I kind of need some guide in the length between the SSD and the CPU. Geez, it could be anything around here. You talking about the great big rectangular ones? You talking about these here? I was going to say, because they're just a current sense. No, I want to know what points he's talking about. The man is going to have to tell me what points he's talking about. Come on, David. Come on. What part's it directly above? Or what rail are they on? TP1. Oh no. What? Seriously? There's actually one called TP1? Let's see. TP1. No. I don't have CPU point 409. We don't have a TP1. CPU point. Oh, you mean pin 409 on the CPU. Right, okay. I'm catching up with you slowly here. Yeah, pin 409. Oh, this is going to be fun. Pin 409. Alright, okay, so it was that group of 4 that I was looking at. Okay. Okay, there all the LDDR, LDDR. So 0.23, 23, 23, 23. Interesting, they're all 2.3s. Roughly. Are you meaning for this slow GPU one, or are you meaning for the previous one? 2.4, 2.4, 2.4, 2.4. Okay, they're all 2.4s. I'm feeling you might have been talking about the previous one anyway. I'm going to check the previous one just out of the sake of fun. 2.7, so that's still well within range. 2.6, 2.7, 2.7. It's interesting. 2.69, 2.7. They're all the same too. Interesting because they're not really faulty per se, and they match what's within reason, and yet it's a dead board, that one too. There must be CA 0.5 volts. Okay, I'm not sure what CA means. What is CA? Do you mean when the board is running? And you want the voltage? Because like I said, this board will run just fine until you hit it with load. Point 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. We just had a reset there. What's going on there? Okay, 0.6. 0.6. Okay, these are all seemingly 0.6. I think the reset was just... Yeah, so they're all good. Yeah. Well, I guess what it means is that that portion of the CPU is fine, but like I said, that's DDR stuff. Now, someone was asking if there was a crack in the PCH. I think it's just a bit of junk. Oh, right. Someone was bullshitting. God damn it. Picking on poor defenseless, sweet, innocent person like me. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Hope you get coal in your stocking for Christmas. The joke they were referring to is when someone said, "Is there a crack in your PCH?" This JTAG looks clean, but there's a bit of a tide mark in there. Oh god, don't let me become a Rossman. I don't want to be a Rossman and just start pulling JTAGs off in some desperate attempt to solve issues. It's more often the fuse than it is the JTAG. Can you give a resistance reading on VCC SATA 3PLL on N466 for your dead CPU? Have you checked? Oh, you want resistance. Okay. Let's see. Schematics. What are we after? VCC SATA. VCC SATA. I don't have VCC SATA. Oh, wait. I know why. Back to substring. Right. I'm going to guess this is the one you want. PP1B05. Okay, so it's those three down there. We have 0.22 diode reading. Resistance reading I've got is, call it 260 ohms. What the? Why is my... I have no idea why that's even there. Shouldn't even be. Anyway, 260 ohms I'm getting on that. So, oh, well, that was with... let's try ground to ground, plus to plus. Okay, so yeah, 330 if you go ground to ground, plus to plus. And in open board data it's a 0.22. So let's see, 330. We'll upload that. Okay, so now the world can know. If you want to know what I mean by the world can know, if we go to there, what is this? This is a 165 board. And what was that rail? Crap. VCC. Oh, god damn it. There we go. I've put it in there now. It's got 330 ohms. So now, if anyone wants to find out, it'll be right there for them forevermore. And here's the cat. How's it going? Well, I'm just going to have to, stick that one in the trash, kind of, too. It's kind of one of those, maybe one day I'll fix it, but most likely I'll never bother. It's going to be easier for me to just get another board and throw it in. Let's see. I've got a bunch of 1466s around here, but... Oh, here we go. I've got a 165 board. I'll give them mine. I don't know what my specs are or anything, but whatever, I'll give them mine. And I'll put a 3437 in. This is the machine that I use to compile Flexboard View for macOS. But that's okay. Like I said, I'll just put a 3437 in. This is the last 165 I have handy around here at the moment. And the reason why I build Flexboard View on this machine is because I can run the older version. I can't remember what I've got on this, but it's an older OS version, so then people can still use it on their newer machines, older machines. Have you looked at Star Citizen and go, ha, no, no. I haven't even had the chance to play 7 days for quite some time now. Free time is a luxury I just don't have at the moment. As much as I want to, and as much as I know it's important, it's just not an option. Like I said, maybe when I get the cat house and all that sort of jazz finished, amongst a few other things, then I can kick back a little more. But until then, I just have to keep plugging ahead. What is this? Oh, this is an 8 gig board. Okay, well, they're getting an upgrade. Oh well. Upgrade it is. free upgrade at that too. No, this one isn't on screen. There's no... Oh, it is the job number from when it originally came in. Okay. Let's see, 1764. It's the 11th. Make sure I get their board. Yep. People forgetting that I'm left-handed is a good thing. Means one day when it's something critical and they think they've got a advantage over me and they say, let's have a duel, but we're going to make it that you have to shoot with your left hand. Ho 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 ho. And I'll be like, no, nothing but my left hand. And then critical moment comes and then bam, they're down. And they're like, how? And I'm like, you fool. You forgot. I am left-handed. You arrogant fool. Anyway. A moment in the fantasy life of a typical male's brain. That and standing in a queue in the shopping centre or the post office or wherever and planning on what you would do if someone came in with various intentions. I mean, you got to keep the brain occupied. Oh, come on now, I'm not like Indy. Although I can use a whip. I'm not great at cracking them, but I can use them. Used to even make them when we were kids. The first ones I made was out of hay bundling twine. That one worked pretty good. Have a rich inner life. Yes, yes, that's it. Yeah. When you don't have beauty, you have to develop that rich inner life, that inner garden of personality. No. No. You forget, I live in the countryside, so therefore whips are used for other things compared to what they're used for in inner city, high-rise, hidden rooms with 50 shades. Crack shot with a moist towel. That's a good start. That's a good start. Yep. Ah, dear. Although, yes, I mean, obviously, I'd say a fair number of us are ambidextrous. I will bat in cricket right-handed. Sorry, right-handed or left-handed? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right-handed. It's been that long since I played cricket. I play golf right-handed. I will bowl in cricket left-handed. Yeah, so I'm all over the place. Oh, I've already got one of those, Steve. I have got a... What have I got? I've got a Ford Courier 4x4. God damn it, I forgot the freaking fan element. Chat's fault. Yeah, Ford Courier 4x4. Dual cab. Diesel. Needs a good service at the moment. Fifth gear doesn't work properly, it just spits you out into neutral, which is hilarious when you try to shift at highway speeds. When you're trying to do a bit of Fast and the Furious 1,000 gear gearbox shifting, that sort of crap. Come on. Wow, that was more work than I anticipated. What about PP3V3S5AV Ref SMC in the notes section of board view? Slam, what's that in response to? Sorry, I'm not sure which board you might be referring to, because we've got the one that chokes as soon as you hit it with the GPU demand, and we've got the one that's got the dead, 99% likely dead IMC. The IMC issue. Yeah, okay, now that makes sense. Yeah, I did have a look at that, and the fact that the SMC is actually up and running and we're getting 8.6 on the rail PP bus makes me think that the AV ref must be fine, because otherwise it probably wouldn't up and run. At least that's my interpretation. If I wasn't seeing 8.6, I would chase that option. But seeing 8.6 kind of removes that option in my limited view. Feel free to counterpoint. I'm very happy to hear otherwise. What freaking screw did you put in there, Paul? Hey, Tom. Let's see, Wi-Fi's in, SSD needs to be back in, make sure we put the right one in. Oh, Slim, you're right, that is, what you brought up is actually a valid thing, that is something to test for. I do believe I might actually even have that in the open board data for the 165 solutions. What the hell? Who set me to quad view? Filthy. Anyway, notes and solutions, missing PMC4. Yeah, here we go. Check PP3V5 AV ref and SMC. There we go. So yeah, that is actually in there. I'll pull the board out and have a look anyway. Can't hurt. Hey, James. Because it's not to say that there aren't some parts, like you can have the SMC up and running, seemingly normal, but it can have dead I2C lines to some of the sensors or something like that. So, yeah, it's possible that one part is dead but the other is alive. You can give the illusion that there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Make sure I get the right back panel for this person. Yep, got it. Yeah, it's a shame we're a little bit too far north to sort of appreciate or get an opportunity to appreciate those northern lights or southern lights down here. I mean, photos are wonderful, but I know it's one of those things that really would have to be seen to appreciate. Agreeably, though, as far as I understand, they are somewhat dimmer in reality than what a lot of the pictures depict, unless you just happen to have a particularly strong storm going on and a particularly dark environment, maybe like, I don't know, northern reaches of Alaska. Or Antarctica. Or maybe on a mountaintop in Tasmania. You don't see crap from Sydney. Yeah, well, yeah, that's because you're in Sydney. And you can't see anything in Sydney but all the trash in front of you. Go to Melbourne if you want a cultural life. Alright. I'm only stirring crap here. Melbourners and Sydneyers love each other so much. Your mother went to Norway to see the Northern Lights? That's great. That's the sort of stuff I'd love to do. Oh, jeez. Why do I not have a display? Or is it... Oh, it'll be hunting for the SSD, that's why. Too cold in Melbourne. Maybe. Relative, I guess. Do I have backlight? Yeah, I got backlight. Okay. I think yeah, there we go. It was just hunting for the display. So what we have to do, so that it not the display, the SSD. Because that board came out of my machine, it was looking for my SSD, so we just do a pram reset and it'll be fine. Go to the Gold Coast and Melbourne. Wow, that's a pretty low standard there. Which Gold Coast you're talking about? Gold Coast from the 1990s or Gold Coast currently? Because if you said from the 90s, maybe I'd agree with you, maybe, probably not, but I could understand. But these days, yuck. I guess that's how much you don't like Melbourne. People say it's because of... Oh my goodness. Freaking chemtrail flat earthers. Oh my goodness. I spend so much of every day on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook, clicking, do not show me this, do not show me this, do not show me this. And Facebook just insists on filling up my feed with that bollocks. It's like, get the hell out of here already. Alright, so let's see, we'll restart and it should be quick this time. Current, last time you were there was mid last year. Oh, okay. Come on, man, beat fast. I do genuinely worry about the state of our future, but then I suspect one of the things that we're experiencing is that in the past, when you left school and you moved away from the people you didn't like, that you thought were idiots, whatever. That was pretty much the end of it. You didn't hear or see of them anymore. But with the joys of social media, now we're all being squeezed back into this mixed stupidity classroom, or mixed IQ classroom, and we can't escape from it. Okay, that didn't. I didn't hold down for the second bong. Perth is a place I would definitely consider. Okay, someone just bonged me again. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, that time it flashed over, but I'll should only have to do it once, but I'll do it twice. Yeah, Perth is certainly a place I would greatly consider. Okay. You gotta be quiet there, Teslas. You won't get your payment for your, the lying coverage. Well, yeah, I've noticed Twitter has become particularly ugly lately. Sorry, I know we're going around this reboot business. Okay, there you are. It's coming up much quicker now. Anyway, that's it. This person's fixed. They don't need anything more from me. They'll be happy because they were starting to get a little bit irritated, and understandable that twice in 2 years, or every year, that machine's come back here. It's been fixed at high price, or normal price, twice, and they'll be getting sick of it now. Let's see. Alright, I need to have a drink of water. Too much yammering. Finish your machine, change U1900. Which machine was that? Is it swapping your 8GB good board for a repair? I'm not sure what you mean. But I do actually. I should really put that high spec board into my build machine before I forget. Otherwise, it'll come to the night that I've got to do the build, and I won't have it. Oh, I've got a 165 in here. What the hell is this? Yeah, I gotta watch the IPA versus water business. What is this? I've got a 165 here, just sitting pretty on the top of my box of boards that are supposedly okay. And it's a 1.68. What? I'm losing my mind here. I should try to channel some other YouTubers right now. Seriously, losing my mind here. Can't believe this is happening. Wow. This is just astounding. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. This board looks intact. Why have I got a 165 identical board? So this is a board I should have put into that other machine. But then this is not a tested board. So would it be a disservice? IPA and a lead acid battery. That's interesting. Wonder what sort of reaction that would have. What the hell? It works. I think. Well, we'll wait. We'll see if we get a blinking green. Yeah, we got a blink. What the hell? I did not. This has got to be a trick somewhere. I'm missing something. I've got an oversight, but I'm going to use it. If nothing else, this will let me test the machine. It's very unusual for me to not have boards marked. That's the other thing, is why does it not have any indications? Yeah, Miles, that that will probably be it. I gotta say, at least at this point, if that sort of thing happens with this sort of gear, it's not a big issue. I'm just like, oh yeah, no worries, you change it back and away we go. In the early days, I would, that was a great fear of mine. Misplacing someone's job, months later they call in for it. Nowadays, my bigger fear is people just abandoning their jobs and they haven't paid for them and all that sort of stuff, and you just have this crap building up in your workshop that you cannot, in this state at least, legally dispose of without getting into trouble. And by legally dispose of, I mean actually, like, even if you sent it to a recycling station or something like that, the fact that you have gotten rid of it without notifying the customer or whatever. But it's like, I tried getting in touch with the customer, but they're not responding after 2 years. What would you do if you had someone's crap in your workshop for 2 years that you need to get rid of? Well, looks like Harry's a bit of a berserker. Alright, someone can get rid of Harry. Looks like Harry gets to suck today. Suck some eggs, Harry. Oh, slack ass bastards. Mate, let's see. Add as a moderator or hide. Looks like we got hide. Yeah, Mate, it's sadly a little too common, people doing that. And they get seriously pissed off when you say, oh, I don't know where that is. Shit, there's... I just do wish that they would amend the law a little bit here, that if the product was, say, if the whatever it is has a value of less than $1,000 and it's been more than even 12 months, if it's been more than 12 months, then you can just discard it or do whatever the hell you like with it. If it's a higher value item, okay, fair enough. And I should point out though, I mean current value, because otherwise people say, my A1466 cost me $2,000. And I was like, yeah, back then when it was actually a new product. As opposed to now, whereby its market value is, if you're lucky, $200. Do you mind asking what microscope you have? Yeah, I think it's the SM4TP. It's the simulfocal one. Dual, what do you call it? Dual arm setup. You definitely want the simulfocal, not the other one that's cheaper. If it seems cheaper for some reason, it'll probably be because it's not the simulfocal. Even if you don't have a camera, or if you're not planning on using a camera yet, just still get the simulfocal. Because at some point you probably will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the SM4TP. It's like the standard one that basically everybody's been using. It's kind of funny to think that when we all started buying these Amscope ones, they were kind of like the cheap microscopes. It was like, finally, we can get a cheap microscope that does the job. We're all happy enough. You know, we could get the Olympus or whatever, but it's, you know, cutting costs here. Now, the Amscope's the expensive one. People are like, I don't want to pay all the extra money for an Amscope. What's the difference? And to be fair, I don't actually know if there is a lot of difference. I can assume that maybe the optics are, they bin them according to the quality of the optics, but I don't know. It's a bit like how CPUs, they all come off the out of the dies and whatever, pretty much the same, the wafer, but then they test them and they go, okay, you're a 1.6, you're a 1.8, and so on and so forth. Hey there, Sudi. Zeiss or Zeiss? That's what I often wonder. I haven't bothered to check. Yeah, it used to always be good to get one of those lenses with your cameras. I think I had one for my Nikon FM. It was I think it was a 55 to 105 or something like that. I can't remember now. It's sad that I can't remember it. Trouble is, I can't remember what the second one was. Zeiss or Zeiss? Zeiss? Yeah. Anyway. Instead, most of us ended up having to just live with having Sigma lenses, which were, you know, good, but you could definitely tell the difference between the Sigmas versus high-grade ones. Hey, Aussie Geek. Yeah, it's... Oh, Zeiss sounds like ice. They are. Good job there, Joe. Good job. I knew I'd get the wrong one, but it's okay. I've got everybody here to correct me. That's the beautiful power of the internet. State you actually know what you're doing. Oh, I don't have a backlight. Okay, maybe that's the problem on this board. No backlight. After I just put it all together. Damn it. Yeah, with the aim scopes, if you can find an alternate supporting arm and get it locally so you don't have to pay the stupid amount of shipping for the base, because really, let's see if we go wide as we can here and not get my belly. I've got my fuzzy little crotch. There. Sorry about that. Yeah, you see, like I just bolt the base of the stand straight into my workbench, so you don't have that great big chunk of cast iron. If they could sell it, the dual boom, without the cast iron, that would be great. God damn it, now I've got to pull it all apart and find out why I've got no backlight. Should have known there was a reason that board was in there unmarked. Well, Nikon and Olympus put out their own, of course. Wish someone had stopped me before I assembled everything. Yeah, the articulating bounce is something that's a bit annoying. Especially that it often lasts longer than you want. Like, I mean, this camera is on an articulating arm. It's a crappy one. But, yeah, you get a bit of a wobble in it, and it lasts long enough that it can become annoying. I know you can get some superb grade articulating arms out there, but at the same time they still do seem to suffer that wobble. Let's have a look at the backlight area on this, just make some measurements. Looks awful clean. That's another bad sign. Ah, great. Now, yeah. Let's see, diode. So what about 0.6 on my backlight? 0.7, that's looking valid. 0.5, that's looking concerning. Okay, feedback lines. 5.8, 6, 5.9, 6. 6. Fuse. Functional. Alright. So at this point we could have a bad controller. It's a little tricky to tell. So first thing we need to do is take the board out. Again. Man, I thought I was going to get some building of meters and such. If you're wondering, I did take off the subscriber restriction on the chat. Mostly because, at least at this point, I'm not drawing in too much trash other than what we saw just before. We have a reasonable number of mods present. And I find sometimes people don't want to commit. I'm talking from myself, to be honest, my own perspective. Don't want to commit to subscribing to someone to partake in the chat. I mean, it's a small thing to do, but it's sort of, yeah, I don't know. There's been a couple of places where I wanted to chat, just casually walk by, say hello, but I actually don't have a real interest in the channel directly. I just happen to see other people that I know in the chat. Wanted to say hello. It's a small price to pay, but sometimes you just don't feel like paying even that. Alright. Oh yeah, okay. Even from... Damn it. Looks like we got a failure on the... Okay. Please stand by. What are you doing, microscope switchy? Not switching. God damn. Alright, okay, so that's fired properly. Let's switch back. Good. Just had a lady, Australian lady, dropping out in 1989 for data recovery. Whoa. 1989. Yuck. Okay, they're not the worst. The biggest problem, of course, usually is that damned... yeah, well, we can see why that one dropped dead, can't we? Wow, this is a classic repair. This is the sort of repair that you wished you would get generally. This and the RTC clock were like the two favourite repairs of the day. So what's happened here is a bit of junk got right on that feedback line. If we're lucky, it's just the pad, just the ball. This is also one of the first indicators that you had to upgrade your hot air station. That or the HS105 switch chip. Because you'd be sitting here with your cheaper hot air station for ages and ages, and the chip just would not move. I mean, it's still not... There we go. Until people would basically cook their poor logic board. Either that or just rip it off. Neither are good options. Yeah, the good old 8850. I'm gonna swap it out with just a standard retail one. The downside is, there goes the poor old pad. The downside of the retail ones is they don't have the smooth transition between the brightness. You can fix that up, but I really couldn't be bothered. Not for myself. I'll be glad when I've used up all of these fluffing out. Oh yeah, the pad's still there. Wow, okay, we got lucky. Winds of fortune blew our way today. It needs a little bit of a scratch back, but that'll be good. Yeah, you just don't see this type of fault too much anymore. They're okay. There's a bit of junk there, but they're okay. Yep. Bit of flux, new chip down, and we should be up and running. Let's see. LP8550. Okay, pin 1 in this orientation is top right. I think for me the hardest thing with this particular chip is holding on to it long enough while you reflow it so that it sticks. And also making sure you don't get the hot air so close or so violently and I know you're lying to me. Yeah, there you go. There's like 3 or 4 stages of it shifting into place. Hey, Brad. Yeah, it's a shame that Lewis doesn't stream repairs anymore. It really was his thing. He had the personality for it, he attracted the right crowd. I understand why you can't really get back to it, but I do wish you could. Well, that looks pretty good to me. I mean, sure, I mean, I do them, but, I'm no Lewis Rossman when it comes to the whole flair and everything like that. I'm a little bit more, how could you say, boring and dry. Somewhat British, I suppose. I see we haven't switched back, damn it. Alright. Yes, well, he actually put effort into explaining things, whereas I tend to be like, I'm not explaining squat to you unless I really have to, or unless I feel like it's a genuinely novel concept. But he would explain things like he'd explain the one wire circuit almost every damn time. Drove me insane. But it was good that he did that. But like I said, it drove me insane. I was like, come on, Lewis, we've heard that a million times now. Can we just jump ahead? But that was me being selfish. And of course, Lewis was instrumental for me with my software, amongst other things. Otherwise, I would be pretty much like every other person out there trying to pitch their software around the place. It was a struggle. But he had the platform. I was lucky. I timed the software release when he was pretty much hitting his peak. It worked out. It is a bit of a shame that I probably will never actually meet in person Lewis. But then again, that's probably a blessing. I'm sure he'd drive me mad, and I'm sure I'd drive him mad. We'd probably survive each other's presence simply by the fact that we have cats, and we would just spend all our time patting the other person's cats and ignoring them. He is working for the right to repair, but it's. I feel like it did a bit of soul suckage on him, particularly yeah. I mean, the guy just lights up when it comes to repair work. Yeah, Paul S. He's still out there doing his stuff. It is funny to think that Paul S. and myself used to chat all the time as viewers or live stream chatters in Lewis's streams. And then one day, Lewis was fortunate enough to have Paul try out for work after Lewis's long run of train wreck employees that seemed to do more damage than good for his reputation and the jobs. And then Paul S. came along, and that was really good. He had a professional, competent, experienced person. who had a lot of work ethic. Even if you can't do a job, like if you can't technically solve a job, it's important to still be careful with the job, still respect the job, so that you can hand it to someone else who might be able to fix it, and they don't have to deal with unwinding all of your crap. And that's why a lot of people in the repair industry do not want to deal with prior repairs unless there's a price penalty involved. There's been plenty of times where you get prior repairs and simply undoing the repair ends up fixing the job. Lewis is definitely a good entertainer, yeah, no doubt about it. Jason Vilmer's another good entertainer. It took him a little while to get there. It took him a little while to find his footing. I don't mean that in some sort of patronizing, you did good teacher type way, because I mean, when Jason was streaming, we started streaming, I was also at the same time, I was only about 3 months behind or so, and we both could see, we were trying to find our way as to who we were as streamers, and we would, when you look back over the videos, you can see a lot of pieces of other streamers in our work, like particularly Rossman would show up everywhere in the way you would talk or the jokes you'd make and things like that. And so you sort of have to find out what kind of a streamer you are over the months and years through that. And now Jason's sort of very much himself, and it's great. Yeah, see, flex board view. It's kind of amusing to think that it's all done on this little, okay, the programming is not done on this machine, just the compiling. Brad's Guitar, you've been streaming for 6 years now. Yeah, I'm similar sort of, I think I'm around about seven, something like that, but yeah, of that kind of era. Lewis had the nice first mover advantage in this particular repair space, and so that helped him greatly, and it was a good thing too, and he actually utilized it well. You do get plenty of people who are first movers in a space, but they don't utilize the opportunity. Yeah, we've got Backlight, so it's good. Yeah, Morton, Lewis was very good at reciting a lot of that information. It was, in some ways, I can understand why he did that, because in some ways, every now and then you have to sort of do a demonstration like that in your own way that indicates you actually do know what you're talking about, or you do have some competence in this field. Because if there's one thing I've noticed, I guess with all social media, hell, with life, is that if you are a little too honest about what you're not good at, or where you don't know things, it doesn't matter that you're being genuine and honest about it. People just come along, they will just trash you left, right and center. So you do have to have some kind of foundation point, something assertive that stakes your claim in this market space, so to speak. So I guess in a way that kind of was his thing. Also, though, with Lewis, it's just who Lewis is. He's kind of like those people who can rattle off pie. They don't think really anything overly special about it. They just feel like, hey, I just happen to know it, and they do it out of habit, as opposed to too much of a bluff sort of thing. Not a bluff, a show off. But being able to stake your claim in the social media space is a very important thing. Tried streaming fixing 3D printers. Apparently people are only watching. Wow, gee, okay. I'm sadly not too surprised. It's unfortunate that, yeah, there are. It just seems to be, if you're a female in this industry, it's very hard to get people to take you seriously. They either think you're fake or what. Yeah, it's an extra layer of difficulty there. Um, I think Jessa probably had to fight with that a lot too. So yeah, I don't envy that situation. It actually took me a long time to realise that Jessa was actually younger than me. I always thought she was older than me. Not something she probably wants to hear, but I always thought she was older than me. Let's see. Later. So I'm just going through and adjusting my. Remind me tomorrow. Apparently there's updates. I don't necessarily want them happening. So yeah, there we go. Yep. What's going on there? I didn't tighten up my hinges. I don't care. What's the time? 11:30, 11:40. YouTube exposure also likely help Lewis's business to grow. Yes, I would definitely say that's true. I think I've heard him downplay that a little bit, but he definitely became a focal point for this sort of work, and I would definitely say it's helped. In as much as I know for myself, Lewis's constant yelling about my software helped my sales of Flexboard View, and then subsequently, me doing YouTube streams and showing it also helps. Any updates on the BWE guy? Who's the BWE guy? Yeah, as they say, Francis, no such thing as bad exposure. What is it? No such thing as, yeah, I think it's bad exposure. How can I not remember that? That's a common line I use. Maybe it is that. Anyway, this works fine. I'm happy. Oh, I should probably check the specs about this Mac. What have I got? 1.6 dual i5, 8 gigs, Intel HD 6000. I'm going to take a photo of it so I don't forget the serial number. No such thing as bad publicity. Thank you very much for that. My goodness. It's embarrassing that I've forgotten that. Okay. And for 99% of the time, hell, even 99.9 probably, it is very true. Back to a A1502 no sound. What is that, 2015 model with a bad daughter board? I mean, that's pretty common. 1466s with no sound is fun, but that's usually the DC inboard too. Why are you not shutting down? The biggest problem I have with a lot of these older machines now is the fact that they come in for one fault, but then you find other faults. Like usually the battery needs fixing, or there's a glitch with one of the keys, or yeah, there's something, and it so quickly can go from being the cost of the board repair to unacceptably expensive, and you've already done work on it, and then the customer's like, you know what, I don't think I really want to go ahead with that anymore. Can we just cancel the job? And you're like, damn it. But of course, you won't get to keep the machine either. And no. It's got to stay in someone's cupboard and rot for months until they throw it out. It's just the way it goes. Crikey, I don't know, mate. What do we got here? What's this? Just stopped. Okay, fair enough. Dead Mick. Yeah, that's really useful. Great. No screws on the lifeboat connector either. Hmm. Amazing how many parallels there are in our industries. Multiple unreported faults. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I mean, you will probably go above and beyond a fair bit to try and help people out. But, yeah, even that, you sort of get to a threshold point and you go, you know what, I just can't go any further. So this is a 1706 board. I don't know if this is a 239 or a 923. What do we got? Oh, right, yeah, microphone's being knocked clean off. This is a 923. It's got what looks like flux residue over it. Usual weak point doesn't seem to be corroded. So is this just stopped? Yee. Alright, let's have a look at this one. This is a 1706 type board. It's sad, 1706s, yeah, they're a nice machine, but they're definitely running into complicated issues now. We've got 20 volts. Great. It just boots. Another bad chassis or something. Although the current... Oh, it just dropped. Ooh, just reset. Is that going to come back up again? Oh, yuck. Okay, it's probably looking for a NAND, the SSD, and it can't find the SSD. So we've either got a bung PCH or Piccolo has crapped the bed. Oh, probably just a bad fuse I'll buy. You don't get many of that actually happening. Okay. What is going on? I don't know what happens, but every now and then my microscope switcher just decides, okay, see, we've got this, can you see the wash marks across the Piccolo chip there? In fact, the whole board. So there was corrosion around here at some point, but we've got no idea where now. Joy. Okay. Let's go to continuity mode, see if any of the outputs are shorted. Hey, Electro Rep. Someone else has been probing, I think. Okay, nothing apparently shorted. We're definitely on continuity. And that gives me concern, because if that's not shorted on any of the outputs, then yeah, it could be something else nasty. Alright, what about on the other side? What the living daylights the hell? Holy shit. And there's some serious digging there. But yeah, the just died thing definitely concerns me. What worries me here is that those dig-ins... yeah, Piccolo is the power chip for the SSD. This dig-in, it's sort of gone down to the layer. There's like the ground plane underneath, and the vias go through it. And we've already got exposure of that ground plane, and it's probably merged in with. Yeah, that's going to be ugly. Your microscope switch could be with the infrared barrier, should be more reliable. Yeah, I looked at the infrared options, and there's just too much variance with daylight and everything like that. The problem is that I've got too many. Well, I haven't got too many, but I've got a lot of devices running off the USB to serial chips, and Linux every now and then has a little brain fart and drops one or two of them. And then once that happens, it's sort of like this cascade of crap. But then if I reboot, it all comes back good and fine for days. And then every now and then I'll get this cascade crap. Brad's got, well, $40. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Not able to show up much, but I wanted to check a few dollary dues and say dollary dues. Thank you very much for that, Brad. That's actually going to be quite useful, yes. It's the USB, yeah. It's the USB that keeps crapping its pants. And sadly, it's a long-standing issue with Linux. Ever since we went to USB 3, Linux seems to have just never quite got the reliability back into this sort of thing. Even if I switch over to something like FT323s, which are fantastic, of course, as serial USB bridge controllers, I'm still going to run into the issue. So with a lot of the software I have now for this sort of work, I do make it that they have a random pause and then a seek and retry, so that they don't have constant clashes with each other, trying to look and re-establish. The sensor I use is a compass sensor, and it's fine, yeah. Because as soon as I get back to it, it's okay. But yeah, it loses. Whoa, this chip has been changed, and that is not what I want to see. I don't want to see that chip being changed. No, it seems to have been done fine. I'm not looking at the right one. I was going to say that one looked pretty good, but then I'm not looking at the right one. Barely see on that one. But yeah, it does feel like it's just not seeing the SSD, which is why it does that restart. No, 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 no. There has been much done here. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, I have to walk away from this one. Sometimes just reheating the piccolo does the job for long enough, and at least let you know that, okay, the piccolo's at fault. It is a known issue with the chip. Hey, Sam Jordan. Yeah, Linux's USB 3 was ruined right at the start for a very long time. Unfortunately, they had a coder that, for whatever reason, created a setup where concurrency just didn't work very well. You tried to have multiple things talking on the USB 3 bus, and it just did not work. And it just turned out to be bad code, but yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna try and warm this up. See if it at least gives us access back to the chip or stops it rebooting. Yes, it is. I've got a very good 10-port hub here that is very good for rejecting external noise and things like that. It was sent in by one of the viewers, and it certainly helped, but I basically just need to write the software, improve the writing of the software so that the software is more robust. Has this been messed with too much? I would say that's been lifted just simply because they took the data off. But in general, I do love my Linux, but its handling of USB 3 is really bad. I might have to clean this up and find out what the... But yeah, I don't know what's happened here, but... Yeah, what a mess. Now we're back to the 700 milliamp bollocks. Yep, and then it gives up. Well, I mean, for sure, there's lots of things that could be better on Linux. I will say though, I mean, overall, for what it is, it's done a spectacular job in changing the landscape. But there needs to be a little bit more, I don't want to say professionalism because that's actually the wrong kind of word, but a little bit more focus on, to put it bluntly, not fucking things up all the time. Because you just start to get the stuff stable and it's working, and they go, well, we've decided that we're bored and we're going to go and change this now because I've decided I like Rust now instead of C. Yeah, stuff like that, and then it gets this great big upheaval, and fair enough, yeah, that is part of the philosophy of Linux, where you just change things, don't let the API or the ABI hold you back. If you think you can do better, you go and do better and you change it. And it wouldn't be so bad if we didn't then also have software applications and all that, depending on these new kernel developments or whatever. I guess sort of kind of was hoping that Linux would have grown up by now in a way. I don't mean in terms of being a stuffy, never changes OS, but I do mean in terms of, okay, look, we're going to provide you a little bit of stability here. But I suppose that's why we then have stable, what do you call it, long-term distro builds and things like that. Oh, do not mention systemd. Geez, that will get you banged. I mean, look, I understand systemd, it did simplify some things, but in many ways, it really was the antithesis of the Unix philosophy. Like I said, it did allow many things to happen, but I think it was a little bit of an overreach. Geez, do I even try and mention the audio subsystem for Linux? Oh my god. Like I said, I use it every day. I'm happy with it, within reason. But I don't know whether they're ever going to get to the point where they're thinking, yeah, maybe we should grow up by now and start doing things in a slightly less hacky way. But I'd say probably not, because that is what attracts many people to Linux, particularly the kernel developers. X11 is still used. I mean, I've got no problem really for X11. I know they say there's security issues with X11, and yeah, I mean, there kind of are, but the point is, it works very well, and it is a great big fat pile of kludges upon kludges. I agree. I don't disagree with what they're saying, but then the replacement, this is where the problem comes in. The replacements they present do not actually replace the functionality. You're not doing a functionality replacement. Instead, they're saying, let's just completely change what we're going to do. We're going to change our language. We're not going to speak English anymore here. We're going to speak Portuguese or something like that. Which, hey, no language better than the other, so to speak. But they just have this obsession with mass changes. I don't know why. It's like, I don't know, if I imagined a lot of the developers as cats or dogs, the way I see them is just going around and pissing on everything, saying, this is mine, it's now mine. That's pretty much how they behave. Like territorial marking all over the damn place. I just want to grab him by the neck of the... slap him a bit and say, grow the fuck up. You're trying to help society, or are you just trying to boost your ego here? There's no harm in boosting your ego, but at least be honest about what you're trying to do. I don't know why I'm even stuffing around with this. This is definitely not going to be... I mean, I use Ubuntu. That looks like I sneezed after a very bad cold. Yeah, Joe, you're right about the cost of pain and change is often overlooked, because if you're a developer, then one of the strongest superpowers you have is the power of self-delusion and optimistic outlooks. No, you're still an overhead. Thanks for that. Yeah, if you're a developer, you have to have that superpower of optimistic outlook, tenacity, most times, and telling yourself that it's going to be easier than what it really is. Because this is why as you get older as a developer, you tend to apparently seem to be more and more a stick in the mud, because you won't go with these newfangled changes, because you're sitting there thinking to yourself, wow, we're going to take a project that's quite stable, has one or two function issues or whatever, functionality missing or something, and we're just going to throw that all away and start with this newfangled project that will end up alienating our users, being more buggy, And then in 10 years' time, when finally sorted all that crap out again, someone new is going to come along and do exactly the same thing once again. It's pretty much how it goes. I think it's a superpower that you still do retain as you get older as a programmer, because otherwise you wouldn't tend to embark on anything. Or maybe it's a case of when it does run out, that's when you stop being a developer. And that's when you become a social media opinionist, yelling at these new young developers and telling them to stay off your grass. Getting old and senile. Wait, who's getting old and senile there? You or your father? This bothers me a lot. You want to see what it is that they were chasing there. Okay, we've got the 239 board, that'll do. Okay, U7800. You had the power to change ring lights. See, the reason why I had the power to do that... Ah, shit, banjo, right, okay. Oh, did they go after banjo because they were... Okay, maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong here. Okay, so I normally place the blame on this chip, U9300. Piccolo. So like, I usually blame Piccolo when it comes to SSD matters. But they went after Banjo instead. I'm sure they had their reason. But yeah, basically Piccolo is for your SSD power management. But for some reason I went... So maybe there was a rail that was missing that Banjo had. But why? What was it? What was missing? Well, that is true, Morton. Yes, you're absolutely right. Those sort of things, yeah, hindsight is the only true way of telling, or yeah, how they work out. I guess, yeah. I think the trouble comes down to is that you can't sort of run the two things parallel. Like, it'd be nice for them to maintain stable in the kernel, but instead, I suppose if you stay with the stable kernel, but the trouble is, there's always one thing at least. Somewhere there's always one thing that makes you have to then skip to the very latest, because otherwise then you can't use something important that's depending on that one thing. And that's how they get you to keep upgrading. There's always one thing that needs something new, and you've got to do the upgrade, and yeah, it's such a pain in the backside. Reminds me of a grandmother arguing with Lewis that cling film does not keep food as fresh as aluminium foil. That's an interesting one. Aluminium foil gives food a special flavour if you keep it in certain conditions. Getting older and grumpier, that we certainly are. I definitely agree. I'm a lot shorter with a lot of people in a lot of situations. Like, I had a customer the other day wanted me to quote them on something, and my quote was a moderately large amount more than what another place in Townsville would be. And I don't know if they were expecting me to match price or something like that, but I was just like, oh, fine, yeah, go on, go to those other people. Because really, for me, with these sort of jobs, I've determined, okay, look, I don't like that particular job, but I will do it for this amount of money. And if people want to go ahead with that, that's great, I'll do it. But if they want to haggle me down, it's like, nah, go to the other place. I really don't care. I just don't care. I have got enough going on that you not bringing that job to me means I can then focus on another job which will earn me roughly the same amount of money or more than what you think I'm losing, sort of thing. Because there is that mentality of better to earn $5 profit rather than no profit by not having the job. But that fails to take into consideration the fact that the time that you don't waste on that $5, you probably, assuming you've got things to do, you could put into another investment of time, work, whatever, and end up with a lot more profit. So, yeah, so it's like, you go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. And I think a lot of people sort of expect you to say, oh, look, I can do it for this much, stick around, let us work something out. So I'm just not that kind of guy. I don't do that. I'm very much, that's what it's going to cost. You're not obligated in any way. Don't even feel obligated. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't take that job. That's the price. Be happy. Go with it or don't. Don't waste my time otherwise. Being on the phone with idiots 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Oh yeah, that will send you mad. A bad customer can cost you a lot more than just your time. A bad customer is the one. See, when you send a customer away, that's not a bad customer really. That's just a case of you didn't match their criterion for what they were expecting. You're going to get a bad customer if you have that customer come in, and most times, the people who want to haggle you down are the customers that become bad customers, because just the way of the universe, something's going to go wrong on the job, and you haven't earned enough money on that job to allow you to then just wipe the board clean and say, look, here's a new logic board, we're good, go out. Instead, it just becomes this development of the sense of spite towards your customer, and they can feel that. And then that becomes the bad customer, because they're like, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of this, and I spent my hard-earned money on it, and it's still dodgy or whatever. And then, yeah, you're going to get a 1-star review and whatever. So I sort of cut that out before it even gets there. And yeah, the expectations, you got to manage the expectations. And the trouble is, like I said, with the haggling ones, they're feeling, there's obviously going to be there's always exceptions to the rule. This is the trouble with generalizing, is that there are going to be exceptions to that rule or that general statement. But we're talking general here. I just find that people who pick at the pennies are usually trouble. Not always, but most times are usually trouble, and more often than not, their jobs end up being disasters. Don't bite someone with bigger teeth. Never heard that statement before. Interesting. So had someone do that to me last week. Shop quoted me 300. Oh, right. Okay, they said, oh, the shop quoted me 300. And I said, well, send it. Yeah. Yeah. I think haggling on volume is a different thing entirely. Yeah. I mean, that does bring up another thing, though. I will get people who will want discounts before they've even shown a large amount of work coming forward. Like they say, oh, I can bring you lots of work. I'm going to bring you 10 jobs a week or whatever. Can you get me a discount? I've been burned enough times that way to now say, look, I will give you 10% on 3 jobs, 20% on 5 jobs or more if you send them like as blocks. Nice and simple, no special accounts or anything like that, just that's going to be your discounts. The whole concept of loyalty, I'm going to just say it straight, is bullshit. There's no loyalty. Okay, it just doesn't exist. There's the illusion of loyalty, but there's no actual real loyalty. No more than there is altruism. Um, it doesn't matter what they promise up front. They can say, I'm going to send you 10 jobs a month, and so if you cut me a discount of 30%, and we'll go ahead with that, and you run for a couple of months like that, and then all of a sudden things start going a bit weird. Maybe classic sort of thing is you fix a board, it turns out the screen's faulty, they don't want to pay for the board job to be done because the customer doesn't want to now accept that, the customer's rejected the job, but you've done the work, you've done your part, you've fixed the board as per thing, and then the person in the middle is trying to get you to cover for the fact that they didn't manage their customers' expectations on the job or didn't stipulate the conditions and things like that. So yeah, loyalty, really, don't ever rely on loyalty. It just isn't there anymore. Every customer costs you time, but not every customer costs you energy. Yeah, that's true. Some are good. You get some customers that are really great, and it's not, how can I put it? They'll keep coming to you as long as they feel like you're presenting value. They get what they are expecting out of you for the amount they're paying. It's pretty much that simple. But yeah, don't expect, like I see it with a lot of businesses that are crashing down, local businesses and things like that, and you will get someone in the group saying, we should support the local business, put your money in local businesses because they're the ones that support you, blah, blah, blah. But if your business is needing to rely on the community to go against their personal choice of not spending money with you, then you probably are better off just closing up and finding out why people aren't spending money. And if it's because you're too expensive or the whatever, that's just the reality of it. You can't expect the community or people to be your charity. It's basically like that. There's a great old talk from Webzone, if you pay me. I like that. Yep. That's simple and straight to the point. Yeah. Anyway, it's midnight, midnight. This here, it's the fact that Berkelium's been redone. I don't know. I would have, like I said, I really would have thought that Piccolo would have been the focus for the SSD just disappearing, particularly the way it is, because it looks like everything else is coming up, but Piccolo's, something's not coming up there. But I'm disinclined now to put too much more time into it because of the fact that Berkelium is being reworked as much as it has, and all the circuitry on the other side of Berkelium as well, when it could have just been... this is the trouble when you're dealing with prior work jobs. You don't really generally get a good history of what's going on. I'll ask and find out, but I would say, given that the lifeboat connector has been removed in the past, they've already recovered the data, so it's better off them just to find another 239 or 923 board and get another one, restore the backup and go from there. This is probably going to have other issues if I wouldn't trust it. It's pretty much as simple as that. Alright then. You're not too expensive, they're too cheap. It can be like that time. I mean, there's certainly times where you can be ludicrously expensive, and then you really can't blame the public for not using your services. But in many cases, I think most businesses who try hard to do good by the customer, they may have a higher price, but they will tend to go the extra mile and try and do the best they can for you, as opposed to ruining something or I don't know, just not doing their best. So anyway, I'm out of here. I'll catch you all later. Looks like Adam IT is going to do a live stream, so I might see a few of you over there. Anyway, you'll take care, and I'll see you later.